Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Fiscus Friday, January 28th, 2022. So excited for everybody to be here. We know that more will trickle in. There'll be a great recap. So let's just go on and get started. We appreciate everybody's time, and with that, I'll definitely turn it right over to Kevin Seanwolf, our phenomenal COO.
Hello? Okay, here we go. Sorry, I can't really hear anything, so hopefully you guys can hear me here. Thank you for having me on. Thanks for coming out for Fiscus Friday. My name is Kevin. I'm your operations manager here at Fiscus. I'm kind of excited today to update you on some of the things that we're working on here in the community. So what that involves is, just on a personal note, I did get COVID this week, so I've been a little bit under the weather. That didn't stop our team from getting a ton done, so big shout out to them. We'll start out with our compliance department. They've been working on creating standard operating procedures, SOPs, for information access. So what that looks like is internally and externally, how is information delivered, what information is delivered, when it's delivered, how it's delivered. So we're working hard with Phil and his team and kind of setting those standards across the community, because it's so important that how information is distributed and all the information practices that we have on an organizational level. Also within compliance, we have our team working to research other DAOs and other opportunities there to see what they're doing in terms of compliance, make sure we cross all our T's, dot all of our I's, so that when launch comes, we're ready to go and we're not waiting around or hung up on some compliance issue. So it's been a long week for them. I'm really proud of them. And that kind of what they've been working on the compliance side. On the marketing side, I wanted to give a shout out to a Discord member. I have it written down here, HBen. They provided some really good information in the ideas channel for marketing, and our team actually took that information. Some of it we already had in our presentation, but we were able to kind of incorporate some of those points into our marketing plan. So I just wanted to say, give him a shout out and let the community know that you're being listened to. You know, everything that you contribute in terms of ideas, we get that. We bounce it off our team, and that's what makes this community so great. So thank you, and don't be shy to submit your own ideas in whatever aspect in that channel. So I would like to introduce Tiago into here. He's our marketing director. Is he on the call here, Tiago? I see he's in the audience here. Take T cubes there.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much, Phil. So, just a quick introduction. Just a quick story here. My first career was as a professionally trained chef. I had the opportunity to work and travel to various countries, being in touch with different cultures, kind of enticed my curiosity on all things related to why people behave the way they do. That's the main reason why I then started my master's in marketing. This was back in the day. And since 2011, I've been in the field. So my background is pretty diverse. I have consultancy experience in different industries, as well as research for B2C and B2B companies. So a little bit of insurance companies, a lot of telecommunications, startup, app building, as well as big media player groups, infrastructure deployment, satellite communications, so on and so forth. Always with the focus on innovation and content-based projects. So it's I'm very excited to be here and happy to be part of the community, just helping to realize the full power of this DAO. So my pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Perfect. Thanks, Tiago. So yeah, we're super excited to be working with such a great marketing team, and we have some really good ideas and some plans drawn up. Um, and then in terms of development, to kind of wrap things up here, I know our dev team's been working super hard this week on the smart contracts, and they're at the point now where they're almost ready to QA those. So we're within a week of QAing those. And then in terms of the front end work, it's getting developed really fast. So we're working with the core team to make some final changes there, and we're really excited with the progress of our development team. So that's kind of just an update of what we've been working on this week at LinkPoint. Now I'll pass it off to Phil to talk about some exciting new projects and answer some of your questions.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Kevin. Definitely, I'm going to be real quick tonight. I know it's Friday night, of course, respecting everybody's time. Three major points I think for me to talk about. One is the PFIS token. It is out. Those that have not seen the contract address, please verify that via announcements. We know that in this day and age, with everything that goes on with tokens, that there's a lot of garbage out there. So please verify that token address. Make sure you do so. Feel free to add that to your wallets. And if you haven't received yours already, definitely expect that over these next few days. If there's any clarification, those that have submitted, and one of these is a question we'll get into in the AMA questions from the week. But yes, we already have your Avalanche addresses. If we do not, those that haven't filled out, certain thing that Donnie's put out, and he will put out a Donnie drop, kind of clarifying some of that. So look for that. Look for his announcements. Know that whenever he posts announcements, there's actionable intel there, and so there could be something that you need to do in order to have that PFIS token if you're in one of those smaller qualifying groups that need be. So we're very excited about that. That gives everyone something tangible, something that you have, something that you hold. I've gotten screenshots, from different ones all day with the PFIS token in their wallets, and so again, that's how close we are. We're very excited about where we are. Let's get into the questions from the week here. I'll definitely keep it brief. There's just 12 short questions here. Great questions, by the way, as we have every week. The first question was talking about NFTs. Those that have the same contract address and token ID, how are they able to differentiate those? Definitely DM on that, just so we can kind of get a more accurate picture. And you know who you are, who posed that question. Please DM that. Actually DM that to me. That's something that I'll even look up and kind of take care of personally there to kind of alleviate some of the burden on the other team members. Second question was about our decision on pre-launch tokens. Between the whitelist and NFT, it seemed like an incredibly large number. So the question was there some economic or tokenomic reason for this? Absolutely. Those that have been a part of the community and seen it, the things that we're doing are definitely methodical from the standpoint of bridging off-chain and on, and at the same time, we are unlike any other DAO. We are unlike any other project. So yes, for us, again, it's about that treasury growth. So there's several elements that spur treasury growth. One of those was absolutely on a pre-token launch number. We knew that there was a certain cap that between NFT and whitelist and LBP that we had as more or less a minimum. We've already on the track to exceeding that, and so we're very happy about that. But yes, there was absolutely a reason behind that. So if additional details or questions on that, feel free to kind of submit a follow-up question, and I'll make sure that does get answered. Next question there was about needing new addresses that are Avalanche compatible for all whitelist members to distribute the PFiscus, which is PFIS, the token. On the whitelist, as far as on the whitelist, there was the requirement that was already there. Again, we'll check on yours directly. If there's a kind of a full announcement that needs to be made, that's something that we'll look at and make sure that everyone knows, this is the situation. The beautiful thing about the whitelist, though, and what Suhail is designing for that, is a solution that really doesn't even that doesn't involve so much human effort, if you will. We've gotten better in our evolution, and obviously in bringing on these amazing new team members to where we're batching out, so that it's not single line items. We're taking care of things in mass, so that that's not so much of an issue. And I actually believe Donnie may have a quick word to even say about that as far as on the whitelist and addresses. While he's coming up, we'll flow to the next one too. Question was about what can we know about the lending pool, LTV, rate, liquidation, etc. How will this differ from time? We definitely are taking the approach that of a much more kind of standard, what I would consider a stock loan, something that, again, are we going to be at the standpoint where we have a loan that liquidates itself? We're not quite at that standpoint when we're talking about an LTV. Again, I'm a big fan of capitalism, as everyone knows, and so for me, it's about having it as close to 90% as possible. And again, with the fluctuation, that's the risk that you would take. But for us to have a lending pool that really allows for liquidation and really allows for liquidity for you, 25-35% may not cut it. And so based on that, it definitely will be higher. And because of that, it'll have the risk that comes with that. So with Donnie, though, let me go back to Donnie about the whitelist addresses.
Hello, community. Glad to talk with you tonight. Just quickly and just tell you what my part of the team is doing. We are in the middle of some tedious work, basically verifying addresses. So we've obviously the bounty and the OGs you guys know about as far as my Donnie drop. We are in the process of that. Look out for it. The OGs need to look out for a further announcement tonight on that. And as far as the whitelist addresses, we culled that list pretty well. We've got most of the addresses. If we end up having any errors with your address, we will contact you as far as either a DM or the admins will reach out to you to clarify or resolve those errors. So, with the ability to basically batch send these PFIS tokens, we can transfer these tokens pretty fast. So, us having information in a batch form is important to us, and that's what we're working on that part. So, we're moving really fast on the mechanics of getting the tokens out to you. Obviously, NFTs are on the list as well, even before the whitelist. So there will be mechanisms in place for you to buy the token as far as the whitelist goes, and those will be coming out pretty soon. So we're racing to get these addresses verified and make sure they're compatible. So back to you, Phil.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony. Next question here was about the sentiment of DAOs right now. Question here, good question. The sentiment right now pertaining to DAOs is that they're a dying breed. Asking what our thoughts are on this and how will we overcome the sentiment. We are absolutely like in anything else, and that's more or less the short answer there. The longer answer is that let's look back at the history of crypto and those that associated Bitcoin, for instance, with everything that was simply nefarious. And again, when we're talking about DeFi, that's new. When we're talking about DAOs, that's new. But at the same time, you do have, and someone had mentioned this in one of the chats, was I thought was a great example about the DAO that backs Uniswap and obviously MakerDAO and again, it's about really just us being true to who we are as a DAO, educating new ones and saying, listen, here is how we are absolutely different than others. Here's what we are doing that's drastically different. Here's what we're doing that may be the same, and highlighting those elements. Here's how we've handled the risks that we see others have had, and just being absolutely forthright with that and transparent with that. Our goal is to be the most transparent DAO. Again, from the standpoint of community-owned projects and community-approved projects, all the utility of the NFTs, all those things lead themselves to us being the first of our kind. There was another thought which I thought was great. It's a quote that I've used in the past that used to talk about how, trailblazers, the difference between trailblazers and pioneers, and one gets arrows in the back and the other gets to settle the land. For us, it's much more of this. We are taking elements that have existed for not only for decades when it comes to certain aspects of crypto, you could say a good decade, but for hundreds of years when you're talking about the off-chain elements and the structures that we are, utilizing and bending to our will, as some would say. And because of that, we're not reinventing the wheel where we absolutely don't need to. And even in the places where we need to, it's based on first principles. It's based on elements saying, okay, you know what? We're going to take something that's done all the time. And this is I'm talking about Fiscus Funds now, which is our stealth announcement for the day. It's live on the website. This is something that we didn't really want to highlight too much of because we know that some of what we do could be too complex. So we've been taking it in phases. But that's live and that's there. That's one of the big announcements that we wanted to come out with pre-LBP. We'll do a full announcement here after this AMA, but it is on the site. When we talk about those things and elements such as that, that's something that's been done in the off-chain world, especially in project finance with large funds for time immemorial. But for us, it's about saying, okay, you know what? Let's use the elements of that are great and let's bring those on chain. And so we're excited to be able to do that. Next question here. Great question also. Would we consider an OTC platform basically to mitigate large transactional price impact as a way to develop additional revenue stream? Absolutely. Being kind of a former OTC is where I really started in Bitcoin in 2017 and 2018 in a larger way, outside of just kind of like personally holding it or buying a little bit of Bitcoin. Back then, definitely buying few Bitcoin because of the price. But yes, OTC, absolutely. There's some benefits there that are strategic. There's some things that really lend well when we look at the lending pool. There's some elements that would really lend well together. So yes, that is something that we would look at. Nothing has been done on that to date. We view that as something that definitely could occur after launch. Next question there, BSID 24, great questions. On Tuesday we had some great questions. Fully appreciate those. Those final edits actually involved Fiscus Funds. Fiscus Funds, we didn't know if it was going to be announced this week or next week. And so as we were doing those edits and it became clear, there were some things that had to get cleared up from a legal side, legal opinion. As that happened, then we said, you know what? Let's hold off on kind of the sole liquidity squeeze announcement. Let's bring up Fiscus Funds. And now that's live on the website. We'll make that announcement here, and I'll just briefly highlight that here at the end of these questions. Also, Fiscus Funds pertains to those off-chain projects. It is all about off-chain projects. It is how we coordinate and organize and structure off-chain projects. And so all the questions about, which projects are we going to tackle? How are they going to be organized? What's the profit involved? This is, I'm happy to say now officially today, January 28th, is part of Fiscus funds. Next question there, again, getting back to a project, talking about the Crash Site Hotel. I actually have a call on I believe it's Tuesday with Angelo of Crash Site. Yes, still fully moving forward with that and with a slew of projects. Having this new organization means that there's better organization, and what happens is that we're actually able to scale the treasury faster, larger, and more efficiently because of Fiscus funds. So I definitely want everyone, please read that overview. Let's get in lively discussions and conversations about it. I want everyone to have a full understanding of that as possible. That leads to that next question here, which was about why projects would even need us instead of traditional methods. I know we've had the question in the past. The best response to this is that there are a lot of projects that do not qualify for traditional financing. They are in countries, they're in geographic locations where they are not able to receive the financing because of a level of risk. They're in industries that have varying levels of risk. And so because of that, there's always a plethora of projects that are able to be funded via project finance and not able to simply walk into the bank and receive financing. Again, I would tell anyone, let's say if you have a large project and it's your first or second time, let's say, doing that project, you've been in the industry for 20 years or 30 years. If you walk into a bank, there's going to be a set requirement, a set procedures that have to occur. You have a lot of banks that don't deal with new projects. And so again, a lot of the projects that we will fund are new projects. Yes, there's some expansions. Yes, there's acquisitions. Yes, there's some that are doing restructurings that will utilize our financing for existing companies that are 20 and 30 years old. But for the most part, we're talking about newer projects. Now, the other side of that is that for those that could also get traditional financing, our financing can be arranged with better terms, where there may be 3, 6, or even 12 months where there's no payments as part of the financing, where it's already built in. Whereas some other traditional lenders or traditional, let's say, private equity or VC funding may require significant equity. We're talking about really looking at core debt financing. And so based on that, again, that's a benefit to those that have, let's say, a phenomenal project and they don't want to give up any equity. And so there's a slew of reasons, just getting back to that question, there's a slew of reasons why someone would utilize us for financing. Next question there. What price do we hope for on launch? As high as possible. What price do we aim for long term? As high as possible squared, I think would probably be the best way to kind of denote that. Again, looking at numbers, I look at it and say, what really gets us to the point where we can really spur the treasury? Now, the treasury is going to be spurred because the projects are happening without us even launching, right? That's something that we always have to talk about. That makes us drastically different than any other project. But at the same time, there's this duality between the on-chain and off-chain, where if we are priming the treasury via projects and that capital, at the same time, those that are bonding in will increase the amount of the treasury, which in turn, it's a beautiful cycle. That in turn, we're able to use additional for more project finance. And so the goal is as high as feasibly possible. Again, looking at it from a scale perspective, I short answer is really the sky's the limit, again, and not saying that in any kind of Pollyanna-esque type attitude, But again, by utilizing Fiscus funds, we have the ability to really be into the billions in the treasury in pretty short, and we don't say that lightly. Again, we're serious people. I sound pretty happy all the time, and I normally am. But when we're talking about this, these are real projects. These are real people. These are real lawyers. This is Kevin is real. Donnie's real. Tiago's real. Again, we're excited about where we're going, and we know that we truly know the difference that it will make. And so again, it's about getting there and then utilizing that influence we have there, not only to bring in new projects and additional projects, but also to do a lot of things on chain, because we know that with certain things happening, some things happening even this week, that certain protocols, may have a bad name. Certain protocols may really be affected by a crypto winter. The goal of Fiscus is really to we're not only stabilizing the token, but it's about stabilizing other protocols. Remember, adoption, growth, and stability are the core tenets of Fiscus. And so the way we do that is not only by our treasury being sound, but by other protocols' treasuries being sound as well. Another great question here, asking about the marketing onboarding, what that looks like from a client perspective for potential projects and who the targets will be. Definitely, that's divided inside of Fiscus funds. So again, please read that overview. From a marketing standpoint to the projects, right now it's very easy. We're existing inside of networks. We've gotten to the point now where those networks have expanded to other networks, and individuals again are asking, can we fund this type of project? Can we fund, we get a lot of, and again, certain industries are harder to finance traditionally than others. So we get a lot of CBD projects right now. We get a lot of cannabis projects right now. We get a lot of mining projects. We get a lot of projects that involve kind of the traditional oil and gas that have been again coming and petitioning for financing. And so there's those, and then we have kind of your run of the mill. We have a lot of commercial real estate projects, mainly development. Because again, those are kind of historically financed more or less the same way. And so if we have advantages over that, whether it's obviously the requirement for less equity, our financial structures amount to 100% financing for commercial real estate development. And so the benefits there for those projects is they have a lot less liquidity required on their side to be able to have a project funded. And so that kind of highlights that other question also. Additional information about Fiscus Plus. That will be announced now with this kind of newly enhanced liquidity squeeze thesis. Those two will be issued together, and that will be all of the things that kind of you can expect more or less from me about programs and more or less project parameters. The only thing else you're going to be getting from me now is just the actual additional projects. You'll get some of the new people that will be Fiscus funds, because again, we're talking about fund managers at this point. We're at that level, and so we'll be getting into those details, and you'll hear that from me over these next few weeks, as you hear everything else, of course, via Kevin about things coming on chain and the developments there from that Ken and Sahel are doing. And so with that, that's all I have. I appreciate everyone as always. I'll hand it back over to Kevin.
Thank you so much, Phil. We're super excited with all those updates. As usual, you did a great job in answering all those questions. Just a reminder, if you have any questions for next AMA, drop them in the channel for the AMA chat. Feel free to message me if you just want to say hi or have a chat anytime. I'm on the Discord. Thank you very much. Another successful Fiscus Friday, and everyone have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.